Hey guys, welcome to a theoretical horse hack with Diego, and we're going to talk about the 4 pillars of cooperation or collaboration, whatever is the right word. And we're going to talk about and show a little bit about how to measure, based on the 4 pillars, how to measure the collaboration from the horse, and also how to use the 4 pillars as a tool and a concept in order to create a harmony and a balance within the horse so that he will be more able to cooperate with me in order to educate or develop him into whatever our goals are. So let's get going. So it's the 4 pillars it's all about, and the 4 pillars are as follows. It's contact, it's response, it's relaxation, and it's willingness. So in order to kind of find the different pillars and measure them, we need to ask our horse to do something. We need to see kind of how he is. Because if we just stand here and we go through the 4 pillars and we look at contact, does he have contact with me? Yeah, a little bit. He has contact with something else, but he has contact with me a little bit. So I'm not sure that it will be enough if I'm going to ride him, or if I'm going to train or educate him in something specific, or we're going to go through some development. Then maybe I want more contact than I have right now. But definitely he's not uninterested, but he's not that interested either. So it's hard to determine kind of exactly what level of contact we have between him and me. And also if we look at the response, he's not really responding to anything. He's just standing there. Maybe he's waiting for something. And also with the relaxation, it's kind of difficult to tell exactly how the relaxation is. And also it's impossible to tell how the relaxation is in different situations. So for instance, if I were to do some personal development of him, help him with his self-image, help him with his self-growth, and help him to become more brave or become more athletic or something, then we may need a little bit different kind of relaxation than what we have right now. But right now, it's hard to tell exactly how the relaxation is. And it's the same with the willingness. What kind of will, what kind of willingness does he have? What is he most willing to do? Right now, he is perfectly okay by just standing. Maybe he has some anticipation of what is going to happen. Maybe there will be some self-preservation. Maybe there will be a willingness to actually cooperate with me. Maybe there will be a self-will, like he rather wants to do something else. Or it could be there is an unwillingness, like maybe a resistance to what it is and what kind of willingness it is. So what I do when I get a new horse, or even when I have my own horse that I know, I always start with kind of checking out these 4 pillars and measuring them so I can determine the level of education or development or specific training that I'm wanting to do today in search of our goals. So there are different things we can do. Basically, we can just ask our horse to think about something, and then we can measure the response. So I can, for instance, I can ask about a backup. I could also ask about a yield to some kind of side, maybe a side pass, maybe a shoulder yield. Maybe we ask him to yield his hindquarters. Maybe we ask him to go forward. Whatever it is, we can also kind of test his ability to handle strange things. So I can start do jumping jacks. I can whirl the stick or rope around like a helicopter blade. I can run and jump around and see how he acts or reacts to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask him to back up. Okay? So I'm going to ask, using my energy, to back up. And then I'm kind of measuring, is there a contact? Well, yeah, he's kind of looking at me. He's kind of looking around, but he's also kind of wondering, what's this all about? And then I'm looking at the response. Okay, there's not really a response. Okay, he's not really responding, at least not what I'm asking him about. So it is some kind of response. And then definitely there's no change in the relaxation and there's no change in the willingness. So then I can say, is it because he doesn't understand or is it because he just don't want to? So if I go with the nicer route, I'll say, okay, maybe he doesn't understand what I'm asking. So I can make it very clear to him, it's just this. Okay, so then we can look at how he did it. So we definitely still have the contact. It's not like 2 ears and yes, what is going on here? What do you want? It's just like he noticed me, he noticed other things, and maybe he's also in a bit of contact with his thoughts and emotions. The response, it was very light. I didn't have to do that much. I was very clear. It was very obvious what I wanted. So he definitely understood what I want. Maybe he was just not feeling that he needed to. And also, if I looked at the speed he went backwards, we kind of saw that it was a bit quick. Maybe a bit more quick than my energy sent out. So that could be a little bit of a checkup, is maybe the relaxation is not exactly as we wanted it. If we want him to be more relaxed, more at peace, more calm, like for instance, if we were going to just ride out, then we didn't want this a tense energy, we want a more relaxed energy. If we wanted him to kind of feel more safe, if we wanted him to deal with something that is emotionally difficult, we want him to be even more relaxed so that he has kind of a buffer to handle the difficulty. But there was definitely a willingness to do what I asked. There was no hesitation, there was no doubt, there was no resistance. He kind of did it again. So let's just recheck it. So I go in, I pet him a bit, and then I ask him again, just with the energy. So I'm kind of saying, with the energy, can you go back? Can you see the contact changed a little bit? He kind of said, maybe it's the same. And now I know he understands it. Now it's just a matter of maybe be willing to do it. So I don't have to explain it to him. I'll just go a little bit, hey, can you do something more than what you did? And then again, I'm kind of measuring the response. I'm measuring if there is a change in the relaxation. And I'm also measuring if there is a change in the willingness. So the response here was a bit slower. It was kind of according to my energy. It was a bit slower than what I asked for in my energy. But there was definitely a nice response, and he's definitely relaxed. He can focus on scratching himself, and there is a positive willingness. So this is kind of how I measure the things. So let's take it up a notch. Okay guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe it and share it with all your friends so they can get an understanding of the 4 pillars. So we're gonna take it up a notch. We're gonna use more activity. So I'm gonna send him out in a circle and see what he does. And it's the same kind of principle. So I'm gonna ask with my energy to ask him to go out on a circle. So I'm gonna ask his front end, his nose to go turn that way, and then his body to follow. And then we're gonna measure his thing. So there's definitely a contact, but there's nothing in the response. So if I lift up here, let's see if something happens. Now he's starting to respond, so he definitely has a contact. And then I'm just gonna show him very clearly, can you go away from this? And then we're gonna see the response. So I had to do quite a lot to ask him to go out on a circle. And then we kind of look at how he does it. So I'm not interested right at the moment in him being perfect. I'm just interested in seeing how he responds, how the 4 pillars are. I'm interested in measuring. So if you go through that, the contact was definitely there. He has a good and nice and positive contact. But the response here was very kind of restricted in some ways. He knew what he needed to do, but he kind of couldn't do it. It's not that he didn't want it to do it, but he kind of he couldn't do it, but he was not too tense. So that's the response and relaxation, and even the willingness we saw right there. He wanted to do it, but he kind of couldn't do it. Maybe he seized up a little bit, and that could be because of the relaxation, because of going forward. So we're gonna do it again. So now you see the contact is there, the willingness is there, the response is there. Even though he went sideways and he didn't go out on a circle, there was a lot more positivity here. So I just need to make sure that he knows it's the front end, the nose first, and then out on a circle. So there, it was way easier for him to do it. He knew exactly what I meant. He wanted to do it. He had the willingness. So he's showing cooperation here, even though he's not running around in circles or continuing on the circle, because I haven't asked him for that kind of responsibility yet. I'm not just expecting him to do it, because I'm only here measuring how it is. So then we go and ask him to go out in a circle. And now we can play a little bit with the responsibility, like him maintaining the gait, keeping the trot and keeping the direction, keeping the distance, and also keeping the contact while we are here. So you see, it looks good. It's a bit slow. It's relaxed. He was somewhat willing. And he has the contact. He kind of checks back in with me. He's not just keeping there. So now we are into using the 4 pillars as a tool for developing him or educating him for something. So we know there is a positive contact with me, and what we want is keeping that positive contact with me, but also teaching him or telling him that he also needs to stay in contact with the task of staying in trot, staying on the right lead, staying at that distance, and keeping the contact. Okay, so we want him to also be in contact with that. And also the response, he was a bit slow and all of that. We kind of want him to respond in a way that is congruent with the task of staying in the trot for some laps. And that could be because he is kind of a little bit too relaxed, maybe. He's very willing. There's no resistance. There's no nothing of him going his own way and doing what he wants to do instead. He's rather willingly. So maybe it's the relaxation. So I'm gonna play with the relaxation as the key to have him know that the contact needs to stay both with me and also the task. So I'm gonna go out here. The response is really good, really nice. So I'm just gonna be very clear, it's this one. And then I'm gonna ask for a little bit more than just doing that. So I'm kind of taking away a percentage of the relaxation in order for him to understand that he needs to stay in contact both with me, but also with the task. And then I can see here, the contact was here. So then I just say, okay, stay in contact with the task, and you don't have to relax that much. But what I want you to do is take a little bit away of the relaxation of standing still and getting the contact with the task, but also then get a more harmonized relaxation at the trot. So this is, of course, the 4 pillars at its most basic, in just simple tasks as going backwards or trotting. So the contact you see there is very well. He has a lot of contact with me, but he doesn't have that much contact with the task. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with here. And then if I were to accidentally take away too much of the relaxation, then that would be kind of the next focus I would focus on, like having him trot for a bit longer so that he can get relaxed in that. Or if it's too severe, that he really loses all the relaxation and kind of gets into a stressful or fearful or even panicky situation, then I would do something else so that the contact gets back to me and back to standing still or relaxing. So this is the 4 pillars of cooperation or collaboration, whichever word is the right word, and how you measure it, and also how you use it in order to create more cooperation from the horse in whatever situation you want to.